Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Low Budget LCS. We've got an economy match for you tonight, and we've actually already started drafting because these are some prompt captains. So, I've got PC Dying Duck, formerly known as Mr. Dying Duck, the player formerly known as Mr. Dying Duck here, and we're going to go ahead and jump straight into this draft. So, here we go. All right, tell me what you make of this so far. We got Vex, Jhin, Thresh versus Caitlyn, Morgana, Warwick. Your take.
Definitely on the side of Sector 7 so far. I mean, it looks kind of almost standard pick comp. You know, Thresh is there to be able to apply pressure throughout the different lanes, with Vex having her ult, especially being able to pressure a lot of different lanes with how large it is. And if you don't catch that early, she can start hurting hard. But from the side of N20 Vikings, it looks like they're going to sit there. They're going to hold their ground. That Anivia is going to be able to put her ult up, wall them off, or we have the Caitlyn that's going to be able to just place traps. Morgana Q, they're going to be able to just sit there, stand their ground. They're going to fight as much against as they can in team fights against this pick comp.
Yeah. I mean, so us both being, oh god, no, not the frog. Not the frog. All right. Okay. I'm gonna keep it real. I got filled top yesterday. Mm-hmm. Ooh, hang on, I really like that. So I got filled top, and I had to play into a Tom Kench, and that champion just does damage for no reason.
He just gets to, and then if you don't punish, like you can't really punish him because he'll just E and just get a bunch of shield, and then end up healing some of it back up.
Yeah, it's a little bit gross. But as a counter to it, I love Trundle. Steal those stats, steal the AD. You're really good against tanks. You're really, really strong. I like it a lot. On the counter side, I really like the Diana pickup for Sector 7 because having the Jhin plus the Vex means you're a very bursty comp. And Diana, with her passive, gives you a little bit more consistent damage. And again, we are using our sponsor, Procomps.gg. Use promo, I think it's what, LBLCS 25 for 25% off?
I believe so.
So my client looks like they're trying to go into draft.
It says that you are in Champ Select.
Yeah. Oh. Okay. Well, I don't think you ever made it in here, so I'm going to go ahead and stream to you on Discord.
I don't know if you've seen it yet, but we are now joined by Flux Arrows here.
Flux Arrows, welcome to the cast.
How's it going, guys?
It is going. You know, it's a beautiful Wednesday night. The stars are shining. The champions are being picked on the Rift. I have to say, I have to root for Nat20 Vikings here because they have two of my highest mastery champs. Just straight up. Trundle, Warwick. That's me. That's me all day.
I don't know. I may have to be on the other side of Sector 7 seeing the Kayn ban coming out. If they have a Kayn player, I mean, I think I just have to side with them.
Disgusting.
Well, the question you really have to ask yourself is, will Thresh Lantern and Tom Kench Eat be enough to get champions away from Grundle Pillar, Warwick Ult,
Anivia W?
Morgana Ult, Morgana Q. I definitely see one side has a pretty insane amount of patch on it.
Yeah, and we'll see here what the summary is once we get all the way through this draft. I'm going to go ahead, since we do have comps, I will open up predictions. Sector 7 is blue side. Okay.
Quick shouts out to the sponsor, by the way. My team bought Pro Draft. And every single game that we've let it draft for us, we've won. So.
What do you mean by let it draft for you?
Have you ever seen that episode of Rick and Morty when Morty has the crystal that tells him which future is going to let him die with his girlfriend, and he only makes the decision?
Like so he looks around.
Yeah. So what we do is we pull up Pro Draft and we just keep selecting champions until it tells us it's good, and then we pick that champion.
You know, there's a feature of Pro Drafts where you can actually put your champion pool and your team's champion pool into it, and it will suggest champs from your pool that are good in that situation.
This is true. This is true. It's actually, as much as I'm joking about it, it's really, really nice. It's a very good tool.
Yeah, so it looks like priority-wise, what Pro Comps is saying is that red team has priority top side and it's balanced bot side. So red team should have the impetus on them to sort of maybe make more things happen. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see here. It'll be interesting to see if the Warwick chooses to go for any early invades. I know as a Warwick main, if I'm looking at a Diana who I know wants to full clear, I am thinking about that.
The damage up from Warwick early game is just way too much for him to really give that up. But the only thing he has to watch out for really is to keep an eye out on the Nivea that may not be able to push as hard as he would want to earlier into the game. So
looking for those roams, being scared of the Vex coming out to help the Diana. I like it. Now, Nat 20 Fenrir. Fenrir, I believe, is a wolf from Norse mythology. Probably plays Warwick, I'm gonna guess.
And you know what? And Sona's not on Sona, so that means that, we got a definite disadvantage there.
And also, I will point out the entire side of Nat 20 do have N20 in their summoner names. So, a little bit more of the synergy than the other side. They've got it going on. I've seen Pickle Hater before. I seem to recall Pickle Hater doing fun things last season. So that top lane should be interesting to watch. Waifu Lord 67 is in for it.
That wasn't his first choice for a name.
It was his 67th choice, yes, correct.
Or maybe it was his third choice.
Ooh, we're getting some
66 people have just gotten.
Okay, we've got 7 or 8K Schmeckles in the bank. All right. You'll love to see it.
So far, it looks like from chat the prediction is looking towards Nat 20 Vikings right now.
Yeah, Nat 20 Vikings, more of the known quantity in the low budget LCS. I think Sector 7 might be new. But I was having a discussion with someone the other day, and they said, quote, I always bet on new teams. They've sensed a pattern of the newer teams always beating out the older teams. What do you think about that?
Well, can I ask who this person is? Do they happen to have PC in front of their name?
They do.
Is it Praetorian?
I don't think it was actually Praetorian.
Okay.
I can't remember 100%. I know it was PC someone. I think it might have been Ruffian.
His predictions have been a little off these past couple days.
Yeah, no, I think it was Ruffian, because I think Ruffian was like... Okay. Ruffian bet all his Schmeckles before he left in the fall, and so he was trying to claw them back.
I see.
But yeah, it'll be fun to see a Vex. I don't know if I've seen a Vex
lane insights that we're looking at. Is this from the perspective of Sector 7's team?
This is from the perspective of Sector 7's team. Yeah.
Yes.
Well, it's looking like they're probably going to try and gank bot then and get that ahead because everywhere else is the 2v2s are weak.
Yeah, it is a bit potentially frustrating, but Thresh is a very aggressive laner. Obviously, Morgana very good with that Black Shield into him, but be interesting to see sort of what actually ends up happening. By the way, casters today are in order of how many aquatic pets they own. Now, the order is controversial. This is why I bring it up. You said you own, what, like 7 fish and some corals?
Yeah, I got a reef tank.
Yeah. So I have a freshwater tank.
Okay.
Do you count snails? Because I have a lot of snails.
I mean, are they in the tank?
Yes.
Of course they're in the tank. What kind of question is that?
Okay. I mean, like... If they're in the same if they're in the same aquatic tank, then yeah, I don't see why they wouldn't
count. I have a dog. Does that count?
But is the dog in the tank?
Hang on 1 second.
The dog was in the tank.
The dog's in the tank. Yes, that is an aquatic animal. It counts.
Well, yeah, that's fair enough. Okay, maybe I should be first on the list then. But in any case, we are going to get into this one. I'm going to set it all up for everyone. And we are going to have a grand old time. Time controls are going to be turned off, and we're going to hope that this bug goes away, as it usually does after a little bit for me, but
I don't like bugs.
We'll find out. Oh, can you guys see, by the way, am I streaming in Discord?
Yes.
Perfect.
It just looks currently like Viego has won. The Ruination has taken over.
Yeah.
I'm looking at your Discord client. Very nice. I'm gonna scope out all your DMs. Who's
whoa! How are you looking at my Discord client?
When you alt tabbed it and moved over to your client or Discord client.
It shouldn't. That's sus.
Okay, we're back onto the.
There we go.
There we go.
And we are in. Let's go. All right, we have some pings going down. Looks like people are setting up for
Flash
a
Ghost on
platform.
Trundle thoughts. My thoughts are that he is going to catch a lot of people off guard. Or he's going to flash forward and get caught, and then that's going to be a bad time for him.
30 seconds until minions spawn.
Yeah, absolutely. Trundle going for the greedy play up here. You see him sitting up there? Yeah?
Mm-hmm. I think it may be needed, though, against the Tom Kench if he can't get some kind of early lane pressure, especially without his Warwick possibly being able to gank early. He may need that little bit of cheese for him to sway the lane.
Yeah, entirely possible. Ward is placed early, but he's going to get taken.
Minions have spawned.
Looking at builds, it looks like the top lane Tom Kench is probably going to have an early sort of defensive advantage with the armor. And the Caitlyn's going to have some more sustain, so that should be interesting to see how that plays out.
This may be a little bit more of a niche thing, but if the Diana there actually let Tom Kench get a hit on that ward, he would have gotten, what is it? It counts about 1 minion of XP from the first wave.
I think
so
if
he gets level 2.
I think you take the whole ward, you get level 2 off the first wave.
No, I've done things where I've actually let both my top and mid laner hit it, and they both get it off the first wave. I think it's same XP throughout it all.
So what you're saying is someone was greedy.
True.
Or possible knowledge that just wasn't known.
Alright. Didn't see how that trade went out, but hopefully Nivea got it back.
Oh!
I lied. Tom Kench's armor doesn't mean anything, apparently.
Yeah, Tom Kench getting absolutely slapped right there in the lane. Perhaps if the Corrupting Pot was burning Trundle, burning Ghost perhaps a bit preemptively, but certainly is going to have control over this lane early.
Yeah, that was a good dodge.
Yep.
Bring it down a notch.
And we got some trading in the mid lane.
And if we look towards the jungle, we can see here that Warwick is ended up pathing up towards this top side while Diana's going down, which is a very smart decision, especially considering how Warwick probably wants to go for an early invade. You're not going to be wanting to run your head with them. You're going to want to be trying to look for a different lane to impact than he is going to.
See, how did this happen? How did Tom Kench go from having no health to Trundle having no health and Tom Kench having all health?
Well, because Tom Kench has gray health, right? And so even though it looked like he was getting very low, he doesn't actually get as low as it seemed. I think the Trundle probably fought in the wave and took more minion damage than he anticipated.
Interesting. Well, regardless of that, we've got some gamers here, and
Pushed out,
their
and
directed
Diana's
camera wants us to watch this.
down. Bot lane also has no vision right now on the river or Tribush, so could create an opportunity for Diana to wrap around.
Yeah, the problem with looking to invade here on Warwick is probably Diana was starting topside, and you also know that Diana likes to full clear, so you're not going to really be able to find anything if you invade top
So
like
here's
this.
Diana coming in. They didn't have any advance notice of this.
Okay,
So
there goes the flash flank. He is going to get stunned up onto Jormungand. Let's see if they're going to be able to get out of here. Diana goes forward. Flash comes out, and a good heal is going to keep them alive. Nat 20, bot lane, going to be able to survive that gank.
yeah, that was good disengage for sure.
2 summoner spells used on the side of Nat 20 with the heal of the Caitlyn and then the flash of the Morgana, but I mean that's a 2-for-1 trade on summoner spells right there. The Jhin still has the heal; they're able to go for more risky plays, especially now that I think it should be or like we haven't seen the Warwick yet, but I would be sitting here assuming that he had started bot lane. They can kind of pressure up right now, and they can really use that extra lead they have on the summoner spells.
Yeah, it's a bit interesting. Warwick hasn't decided to recall yet. If we look at the gold, 1,400 gold total, only 900 gold in pocket, so maybe he's sticking around trying to get enough for Tiamat. I know that's a great first back on Warwick, but you know sometimes you can't force the first back. Sometimes you just got to get the pickaxe, then get your gold for Tiamat, get it on. Yeah, this game is, by the way, if you don't know me, a certified banger is when a game has as many kills as it has minutes. And so far, it's 5 minutes, and there are 0 kills.
Yeah, just looking from the two teams, honestly, both of them are kind of playing towards their mid to late game. Just there isn't really too much action other than this possible. Like I would say, Warwick is going to be your biggest option, but Diana's playing it very well.
I would say that it's a matter of time mid lane. I mean, this guy's doubling the CS of his opponent and is managing his spheres extremely well. It doesn't look like Anivia can really keep up.
Anivia does have the level 6 now, which is a huge amount of utility in her ult. Although if she, misses cannon like that, it is a bit tragic. Yeah, I would say both mid bot and jungle, the side of Sector 7 are all getting CS leads, so they're probably pretty happy with that. Nat 20, on the other hand, not too sad about it either. Their teams also scales quite well.
Right. I think in these circumstances, Nat 20 would probably do well to keep their jungler towards the side to try and amplify the lead that Thunder has.
I don't know, might
and Anivia will have to... Anivia's going to have to ward well and be very careful of Diana, because Diana's probably looking to come mid and get the Vex fed.
Yeah, absolutely, and with the pressure that's being put on Leviathan in the mid lane, that seems like a definite possibility. Tyr is going to come out here for the bird along with the Mana Crystal, so they're going to have more resources to manipulate their wave in the future, as Pickle Hater is looking to crash another large wave into top. Did either of you see when that ward got placed? That pink that Fenrir just cleared?
I think Diana was just walking out of the jungle for it. I may be wrong with that though.
Well, in any case, Flash and Heal are almost back up for the side of Nat 20's bot lane. So while you did get those summoners, it has gone unpunished. Bagoot, not yet 6, doesn't have that ultimate. Perhaps they're just looking to full clear until they have it.
There's a cannon here too. I'm a little concerned about Squeewee's ability to CS. I think Caitlyn is definitely the more dominant laner in this matchup. And, just straight up missing uncontested cannons like that is really going to hurt his ability to stay relevant. Especially if the Jin's able to pick up kills at any point. And, yeah, it's just like a natural uncontested CS differential there that really shouldn't exist. And that's a little worrying, I think.
Yeah, about 26 CS down is the difference. About 400 gold right now.
16 or 17, but yeah.
Well, sure.
45 plus 16 is 61.
I mean, as I was saying it, the numbers changed. As we do have some fans in the chat. Nat 20 lovers, Sector 7 lovers, they're fighting.
Can confirm LeChance is out licking toes.
Yep. Yeah, that's correct, Topher Dragon. That's why he can't cast every night of the week. He has to have time to go indulge in his sins. Ooh, hang on here. We've got a gank. Fenrir going forward is going to be able to get the sphere off, but uses the ultimate to keep the suppression down. Waifu Lord is going to use the Grey Health to make a shield, but it might not going to be enough flash forward. First blood is Trundle on the Tom Kench underneath the top turret. But now,
meanwhile,
fresh Diana going aggressive. Black Shield and Net are going to make sure Caitlyn is safe.
Yeah, that was really great use of the trap there by Caitlyn.
Now, despite having first blood, hang on, this might get spicy. Leviathan, you do not have that much health as Caitlyn now gets trapped. Shapered. Wait.
Good dodge.
Shapered. As Diana picks up the dragon. Okay, so interesting points. Trundle, even though his team has first blood, he has that kill, he will be very ahead of the Tahm Kench. About 600 gold. 700 gold.
Yeah.
6. Yeah, somewhere in there. Dragon goes over to the other side, and through just CS, they have about an 800 gold lead. That's coming from jungle, mid, and bot, even though there is a CS lead in the top. So Pickle Hater is really looking to sort of put his team on his back this game.
Yep.
Keeping in theme with that, helps Fenrir pick up the Herald. Where do you guys want to see this go?
I think it just goes top. I think you continue, just keep getting Pickle Hater ahead and hope that he's going to be enough where he's going to have to be focused a lot in these team fights, and it's going to let the Anivia, the Caitlyn, even the Morgana be able to shell out their damage before Vex comes in or the Diana comes in and blows them up.
I agree. I think the two things to consider are, would you rather unlock your Trundle to be able to roam, or do you want to put it mid to stop Vex from being able to roam bot or into a mid lane? Right?
Good
It looks like
question.
Trundle might be able to handle his lane on his own. And Vex already has one plate down mid. Once that mid tower falls, Vex is going to be all over the map, right?
Yeah.
So that's something that we have to be really concerned about.
100%. I do want to credit Leviathan. It looks like they have tightened up their CS a bit. While they haven't closed the gap, a 27 CS difference is a lot better than what we were working with before. So they've certainly kept pace with the Vex, even if they haven't, recovered the deficit.
Sure. And I think a really big
Oh, hang
thing to
on.
keep an eye
Fenrir's being sneaky here. Tahm Kench is the target again. Fear goes off a good cancel on the dive. Suppression comes through, and Pickle Hater and Fenrir are wailing. Another kill goes down for the Trundle.
Let's go. That's exactly what they need to be doing right now, is just amplifying this lead topside. Probably would have wanted to grab a couple plates first, but didn't really maximize that Rift Herald, but this should do.
Yeah, I agree. So, in case you don't know, Rift Herald does true damage to turrets. As you take turret plates, it gains armor and MR. Well, just armor, because, for the number of champions that were nearby when the plate was took. Since there are 2 champions nearby, each time that it gets a plate, it gets 2, essentially, stacks of armor. So, if you take your plates and then you drop the Herald, you get maximum value off of the Herald damage. Because the longer you're on the tower, the more armor it's going to have, and the more resistance it's going to be to your auto attacks.
Right, so if they had taken 2 plates first and then dropped the Herald, they actually would have taken the tower just there.
Yeah, 100%. But good on Nat 20 to play through top, getting this Trundle even further ahead. Looks like he's going for... That's got to be Sunderer, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Right, because Hammer, Hammer goes to Sunder. And
Yeah, across the board, I think Trundle's getting a little fed, but the thing to really keep your eyes on here is just the absolutely massive CS gaps between these two teams. Level advantages are going to be going out soon as well. It looks like Jhin is slightly ahead of Caitlyn in experience, and Diana has a full level on Warwick.
Might be a trap here. NS Shepard going for an aggressive ward. Fenrir is going to be there, but they're not going in just yet. Oh, okay. All right. Cool. Ooh. Leviathan might be in a bit of trouble here. Nope. Never mind.
He's just taking some hope. That's all.
Yeah. And if you don't mind, can we check the gold here? I want to see this difference between this Warwick and Diana.
Yes, so Diana 4,200, Warwick 4,200. They're actually even because of the 2 assists.
The 2 assists.
Yep. But look at the bot lane.
Okay, using the pillar to cancel the dive. I love to see it. He missed it up earlier,
Let's go.
but this is really good now. The Grey Health is probably going to be enough to get Tahm Kench out of this, but he will be low after that. And if Warwick comes up, who is now boosted by Tahm Kench's being under half health, I imagine top turret is gone here.
Yeah, bot and mid are both looking like 1,000 gold ahead on the side.
Ooh, a good binding lands onto Shaperd.
Oh,
Nice Caitlyn Q
that was
means
good
that
poke.
they're going to be a little bit threatened. Trundle going aggressive on the invade here.
We do have this dragon spawning
Yeah.
very soon, though. That, I mean, Warwick's
There's a
still.
mythic completed on Diana as well.
Yep.
That's a really big first step there for their side. I think that's going to give them a really big advantage of the fight on Dragon.
I think without, I honestly think without the, ooh, that is some big damage coming out from the Vex there, showing that she already has some of that damage to be pumping out, that
Oh yeah.
without respecting it, N20 could still be in trouble.
Well, if you
Well,
don't
he has
move
two-
Pickle Hater here, you can't get Drake. That's just
Yeah,
Vex
no,
has a
if
two-
you just have
Vex
to
has a
pour all your
two-level
resources up top.
Sure, Vex has a 2-level advantage over Warwick,
Yeah.
which is extremely significant in terms of damage output. It looks like the Drake is going to be basically uncontestable on the right side.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
and go ahead.
I was gonna say I would have kind of liked to see a little bit kind of not really aggressive, but the Warwick kind of staying towards the top side, especially taking that scuttle up there, like kind of communicating if that Trundle can't move down. I mean, we see the Gromp and the Wolves are both up on that top side. Just take them, try to keep closing that lead. As we saw, the gold is very even between the two. The slightest thing can push you towards the lead.
Yeah, absolutely.
The gold is, but the experience is also looking like it's moving towards Diana's favor as well. Additionally, if you look at their actual itemization as well, the completed items are extremely valuable in the benefits that they provide. So even if their gold even still was even, the fact that the items are complete on Diana's side and she has a little bit of an experience boost means that she's going to be favored. Jhin is expanding the CS gap over Caitlyn as well. Currently the most CS in the game.
Leviathan, though, has kept the gap to a minimum. 31 CS. I think that's better than it was.
Pretty consistent. No, it's been pretty consistent at 30 CS for the last 7 minutes or so.
Yeah, good to see that not expand further. That's for sure.
Yeah, definitely Anivia is a very safe farmer, and so that's going to really be going in their favor.
Now, some people in chat are pointing out that Trundle could walk up and kill the tower whenever he wants. I think this is true. However, I think it is also true that he can use the tower right now to deny more and more farm to the Tahm-Kench. The question becomes not, should you just walk up and take the tower? It becomes, what value am I getting out of having that tower up? Now, because he's a critical part of the team, I personally think he should take it, but I think there's an argument to be made that strategically you can leave a tower up so that you can crash minion waves into it.
I see where you're coming from. I just think that contextually, you'd probably want to get the Trundle out of that lane so that they can start carrying the advantage across the map.
Oh yeah, I mean, I agree 100%. Gold, though, dead even right now.
Especially because he doesn't have teleport, so getting him more centrally located on the map is going to be a little bit better for Red Side's ability to contest neutral objectives with power.
We see Warwick going for, once again, to just lane gank from top lane using the Alcos.
Good flash. Okay, a good flash from Waifu Lord 67 is going to keep him safe, as Anivia's getting gone onto the mid lane. I haven't seen a Vex ult yet. It's interesting. This top tower is almost certainly going to fall. Bagoot, perhaps looking Waifu Lord, going to be in a little bit of trouble here. Gets the fear down, eats the Warwick, but that's not going to be enough. You are a tiny frog due to subjugate as Morgana falls in the bot lane to Jhin. Almost expected. Leviathan landing a lot of damage on Asona, but there's the Vex ult, the tower shot. The shield is going to be able to save the Vex. Hang on! There's a Warwick! Gets feared, gets the kill. That's a taste of your own medicine. And that is 2 for 1. No, well, the overall trade I think is 3 for 2 in favor of Nat 20. Or 2 for 2 across the map.
2 for 2.
Wait, no, because Tahm-Kench died, right?
Yep.
Yes.
And then and then Vex
Vex
died.
died. Yep.
Yep, and then they got Morgana in the bot lane, and they got the mid. Yeah. Ooh.
And then
Fenrir's being a little sniffy. No, he's not going to go for it. Okay.
Here we go.
Yep. All right.
Here we are.
Gold gap in top lane is 3,300. Well, 3,280 something. So that's where we're at there.
And even on the rest of the team, he's still up on everyone in this game. Where now that top tower is gone, I mean, this dragon's starting to come up, and this is the first fight I think we're going to see between these two, especially now that Trundle can move freely and we can try to see his power compared to the rest of them.
Yeah, absolutely. I kind of think Titanic Hydra is a bait on Trundle, even Trundle jungle. I much prefer to get my Sterix early.
Definitely want to give a shout out to the Anivia for matching the Vex's level and managing to stay in lane and get that experience.
Okay, there goes the hook. It is going to miss. They're going to pick up the skull.
Yeah. Pretty significant advantage that Nat 20 side has.
This is great teamwork right here from Nat 20. Really controlling this river, using the Kate traps, preventing critical entry through the pathway so that they can secure the third Drake. Prevent Soul Point from being, pressure point of contention, and just really securing themselves a path further into the game. Oh, Vex though. Nope, not gonna look for it.
Yeah, I mean, just this Trundle being here, then be able to set
Thresh
up.
might be in trouble. That is a fat Q from the Trundle, and he might solo take Flash from it. Hang on. Warwick ult on the side onto the Vex. Vex is going to have a lot of damage, but Warwick has the damage reduction. Now in goes the Diana. Here comes the Vex ult. Vex is going to do a lot of damage. The Diana ult is massive, but is it going to be enough? She falls as well, and now the Thresh is in trouble. Pickle Hater here to do the damage. He's going to be spell immune, but he's also going to be super slow. He's going to have to walk out that. Meanwhile, Waifu Lord in the top lane, looking to get some turret damage of his own, as Sector 7 hold their own against the side of Nat 20.
I think the difference maker there would be if Vex had the fear ready to go, going back in. That would have changed everything.
Absolutely. I think it would have been massive. And even if Trundle had slightly, I think there might have been a cancel auto attack or so in there. Good cancel on the dive, and now Tom Kench is going to be in trouble. Does have the gray health to turn into a shield, but that's probably not going to be enough. Pickle Hater is just going to run down the frog and cue him to death. Chomp, chomp. But yeah, the Thresh was so close to dead multiple times there, and he did provide utility later on in the fight. So, really close to being heavily in favor of Nat 20, but it still went in favor of Nat 20. Trundle is getting larger and larger as we speak. 4,000 almost is the gold lead for him.
Well, I mean, the thing is that, on the blue side, we have these really huge advantages in gold on both Jhin and Vex, but without having the right kind of teamwork and setup, you can't really take advantage of those, and that's kind of an example of what we saw in that last fight. Without the proper positioning, without the proper setup, there isn't really a lot that Jhin can really do with all of the power that he has. So, as long as Nat 20 keeps up the good teamwork and great positioning, then the macro I think is going to win out.
Yeah, absolutely, and it looks like they're wanting to siege on this mid lane turret here. Trundle has been sent to side lane against the Vex, as the rest of them are doing a grand old siege. Squeezy is going to get hooked here. Good Black Shield to prevent that stun from going down, but that's a 3-person Diana ult. She Zanya's to stay alive. There goes the curtain call. Fenrir blocking for his comrades, as they're going to actually get out of that one unscathed, and that is a lot of tools used for Sector 7.
It's a fantastic wall by Leviathan as well.
I think without the Vex there, there's just, slight bit more damage, especially with the big fear, and the possibility of continuing to ult really does change the fight towards, or would really change the fight towards, sorry, I completely, S7, yeah.
Oh, Pickle Hater's going aggressive here. Uses the Subjugate on Tom Kench. There goes the Warwick with the Fear active when he ults to get that bonus off. But now he might be in trouble as he's tanking both Timtree and Bagoot. Bagoot goes in for the kill, but gets trapped up by the Caitlyn. Squeezy doing damage, and now Pickle Hater is onto the Vex. There goes the Pillar. Does not have the Fear. He's going to pick that one up. Waifu Lord walks forward foolishly, gets Dark Binded. Jhin is looking to help, but he can't do anything, and the wall goes down. Too many Freljordian structures going up on this rift, impeding the movement of Sector 7.
That's what I'm talking about right there. It's that teamwork. It's the superior communication and positioning. It's allowing the Nat 20 guys to really press their advantages while maintaining safety on their weaknesses and applying the pressure full throttle on the side of S7. And Yeah, it doesn't look like S7 has the ability to kind of think on their feet.
Trundle wants more. There goes the pillar. Flay is going to be used, but Dark Binding lands. The Jin is not going to be able to save you with W from afar. And that is another kill for Pickleator, assisted by Jormungand. Jormungand? I'm assuming Jormungand, right?
Jormungand?
Yeah, because it's like
sure.
Vikings. It's probably... I don't know. That's my best guess. You can correct me.
Just interview most of the game.
Yeah. Well, only if they do end up winning, which they seem to be on track to do. Trundle ballooning his lead even further. 5,000 now, about is the gold lead for the top
Well, I mean,
laner.
look at it this way. He's level 14, and he's got a huge gold lead. And the only person that really threatens him on the other side right now is Vex. And he handled Vex in the last team fight. So it's not looking like that freight train is really going to be slowing down anytime soon. It's going to take a great effort and a lot of planning on the side of S7 to be able to find a way to deal with this.
Yeah, absolutely. Uses pillar perhaps a bit early. Is going to get hooked up here. But has his friends in the area. Is not exactly going to be scared here. As Picklehater is just saying in the face of the entire enemy team, "Fight me, you cowards!" He might be in trouble here, though. He is stuck in a 1v3 as the dragon does fall in favor of his team, but he might fall as recompense. A troll for a dragon, as Sector 7 pick up their first kill on the Trundle.
That was a significant gold turnover into the Jin's pocket there.
Yeah, it's 1,000 gold over towards the Jin. That, I mean, just that alone, Jin's going to be able to pump out a little bit more damage, and he's pretty on track with he's on track with the levels on the Caitlyn. He's going to be able to hopefully pump some of that damage I expect with the current call.
Nothing going to come from that. Yeah, I mean, he's probably going to get LDR next back with the amount that he's carrying in his pocket, 1,400 gold. Maybe not quite enough, definitely enough for the next component. But, you know, compared to the Caitlyn, who was on 1.5 items, he is kind of on 2.5 items. He's feeling good this game. But it'll be interesting to see if he can do enough to stop this Trundle. Jin, not traditionally the highest sustained DPS champ in the game.
I certainly think it's an interesting choice to go for the Lord Dominic's regards over the Infinity Edge, especially considering that while, you know, Trundle is tanky, I'm only looking at like one real armor item on the side of that point here.
Yeah. Good point, and it is on the Warwick.
Yep. So I'm thinking, you know, Infinity Edge may have been the better bet in terms of overall damage output, but he could just be looking towards the future just to see maybe that might be the direction the Trundle's going in next.
I think I've heard people advocate for LDR's second item on Jin, so I think it's pretty standard.
Okay. I mean, definitely we'll have to see how that plays out.
Oh, Picklehater is going to get swept out there. Diana sees the shadow of death and decides, I'm not going to go that way. Gold surprisingly even, given the state of the game. 5 kills to 12. 2 dragons to 2. Kind of evened up.
Yep. Well, you know, there was that huge CS lead on the side of S7, and N20 just decided to even it up by getting some kills.
Fenrir, looking for the fear, is going to find it with the flash. That is going to be a dead Thresh. Fenrir going to take some damage. Ults towards the Jin, not going to be able to find it, but will be able to walk out alive, as that is a free kill for Nat 20. Yeah, I think the good thing about LDR here is he's going to be able to proc it on a lot of the side of Nat 20. Even the Anivia is going to have more health than the Jin, so probably Morgana too.
I think if I was on the side of Nat 20 there.
I don't really think it's a great item. I just think that the raw power of the Infinity Edge might be a little bit better in the circumstances that he finds himself in. One thing that I'm curious about as well is it looks like Tom Kench is the only member that's building any kind of grievous wounds as well on their side.
Yeah, you might want to do that with a Trundle, with a Warwick, you know? A little bit infamous for their healing capabilities.
A little bit. And those are, you know, the problem members of the team at the moment as well. So we'll see how that plays out as well. Would have probably liked to see Vex with an Oblivion Orb to match the Anivia's Oblivion Orb as well.
Yeah, absolutely. good to see heel cut, but Vex is just going for the one-shot power. They're saying, look, if I can kill Caitlyn when the fight starts, we should probably win. Right, guys? Maybe not. Pickle Hater is kind of huge. And I think especially once Pickle Hater gets that Sterix in his pocket, it's going to be rough. As actually, it looks like Pickle Hater has picked up an elixir of iron for this fight.
Yeah,
I'm seeing that right, correct?
Yes, he has, and I mean,
it's a choice.
I kind of agree with it. With that dragon coming up in 57 seconds and possible Baron pressure, I think it's fine to go for it because it could be a very deciding fight for this. Honestly, for the game, like this next fight that's coming up, it could be a factor that could sway it.
And, 42 seconds left here on this Drake. The teams are dancing along in the river.
I'd say only in the case that if S7 were to manage to win it, I would agree, but it's kind of a long shot, I think. At this point, what's really interesting though is what N20 has to do is maintain this momentum, keep the pressure on the neutral objectives, in order
Good
to
snipe from your
close out the game. In order to close out the game before giving S7 a chance to come back, and looks like S7 is getting a chance, here to farm it out and slow the pace of the game. So.
They are certainly being denied access to this corridor. Squeeby taking a bit of poke. I believe that was 2 Qs from Bagoot. Jormungand going to try and take out the wards here. Rest of the team not too interested in doing the dragon just yet. Are going to try and wait for Sector 7 to walk into them. Oh, good damage there from the Vex. Sona.
And that's what I'm talking about. So even though S7 is, kind of on the back foot here, they're not down and out.
Oh, there goes Warwick. Fear goes off. Ult goes on to Tom Kench. Maybe not the priority target you wanted, but on the backside, the Morgana gets deleted by NS Sona, and Squeeby is fighting for their life. Sona is incredibly low, but is going to stay alive. The Vex ult resetting throughout the fight, but is it going to matter? Trundle is an absolute demon on the other side, and NS Sona gets taken down by the Blue Smite. Jin now here left to fend off against 3 members, 1 healthy Trundle, and 2 rather not healthy Bird and Wolf. So we'll see what happens to this dragon. He is going to be able to free hit this dragon from over the wall, and that LDR is helping him do massive damage to the Trundle. It is going to end up falling, but they are pressuring them here. Fenrir, though, he has gotten some health, and he is here to assist, but they are going to call it off after the flay.
Yeah, here we can see the Vex has been just pushing side lanes all this time. That gold that she's going to be getting, the XP that she's getting from these free waves is going to be able to really let her get some of this damage out, especially with the flank that has been present throughout all these setups, that it finally is proved that it can work, and then the Jin's able to even pull off some damage out with that LDR, honestly, with the extra damage on
what's
for
happening
the larger health.
But what's happening here in the bigger picture of this situation is that N20's composition is designed for Warwick and Trundle to be peelers, right? But Trundle being fed means that he's going to take the lead. There's no one there to defend the Caitlyn, right? And so if Vex has the ability to get access to that back line, no matter what, they're going to die. Vex is just that kind of champion.
Yeah.
And so that's a decision that Nat20 needs to make, right? About whether or not they want to have their Trundle, forward instigating fights, or if they want to be closer together to give them a better chance to kind of protect all of their members from those flanks.
Quick CS update. Leviathan has closed the gap. Only 18 CS down now. Used to be around 37, I believe. Big props to them.
Certainly.
As we
I
are going to
believe,
have
though,
a war
that
fight.
The Diana has been getting closer and closer to this Flame Horizon against this Warwick, which may prove to be worthy later on, with especially the ult damage, being able to pull people together, especially for the fear for Vex.
Yep, the CS differential is going in favor of the Diana. However, Fenrir has been donating some of his camps to Pickle Hater to help further accelerate that Trundle, and he's still around 200 gold above the Diana. So he doesn't hate that one bit, but he might hate this. He's going to get feared, has to flash away. Trundle helping use Pillar to peer out his friend.
Yeah, not bad. I like the idea of having Anubia there in the side lane with teleport.
Hook lands onto Trundle. Black Shield is going to go down. Dark Binding's going to miss. Bagoot's going forward. That is a 3-person ultimate. Squeeby is going to have to flash away here. Here comes the curtain call. Will it be enough? Bagoot falls instantly to Fenrir and Pickle Hater's absolute meat shredder. Tom Kench is going to eat up Trundle, but it won't matter. Ult lands onto Shapert, and they are not going to go Night-Night just yet, but the burn from Leviathan takes down the Thresh. And now Nat 20 are poised to take this Baron.
And this is exactly what I'm talking about. If you position your team in such a way where you can keep the carries alive, then you don't lose a team fight.
Yo, Lit Club Esports, thanks for the raiding party. We hope you enjoyed over here at the low budget LCS. And yes, certainly what they are going to do here is they are going to pick up this big purple worm, put it in their pockets, and look to push to the game wearing purple.
Wearing
Oh,
purple.
14,000 gold on the Trundle.
Yeah, he's doing a lot right now.
Is
Important
gonna
to remember that the Jhin is literally 7 kills down and only 2,000 gold under as well. That CS is really going to go a long way. It's just up to the side of S7 to find a way to get into a team fight that allows him to actually hurt people.
Yeah, I mean, is getting closer and closer towards that Infinity Edge. That extra damage that, might let him really nuke. But it's a tall order. If Sector 7 don't try something different in these fights, they're not going to end up winning them. Waifu Lord might be in trouble here again as
Exactly.
Pickle Hater has found some damage. Uses the pillar too early, but Waifu Lord channels the dive right in front of himself. Perhaps a little bit of panic there, because now he's going to be in trouble as the Chomps are going to be enough. Pickle Hater picking up the solo kill, and now Bagoot might be in trouble. The Caitlyn doing massive damage. Squeeby looking for it. Warwick ult going forward just to confirm that kill. Shepard is going to be able to provide some CPC, but not enough for their jungler to survive. As Dragon is up in 30 seconds, Diana is up in 47. This has got to be free for the side of Nat 20.
Yeah, they've really taken control of this game at this point.
Yeah, I was worried for them at the beginning, especially with the CS differentials, but their positioning and their team play has been so exceptional.
Yeah, the coordination on their side is very good. It seems like they have a very clear understanding of what their win condition is, and they're just executing on it very well. So while there might be like a higher level of individual skill on the side of S7, their inability to really put themselves in any kind of form to face a team fight versus Nat 20 is really shooting them in the feet.
The way I see it, it's just summoner name difference.
True.
Synergy's too high.
Synergy's too high. They've magnetized each other for these team fights with the N20 at the front of your name. It makes them move towards each other, and that is what it is. So, Waifu Lord 67, you should be NS Waifu Lord 67, but hang on, I don't have time to talk about it. That is the power of Morgana Caitlyn, but Squeeby getting taken incredibly low by the Vex here. Trundle is going to take an incredible amount of damage as well. Shepard providing a lot of this help. Getting eaten up now. Tom Kench, Warwick going in. They are going to find one. And Trundle may fall, but at what cost? Picks up a ton of stats. And he is even going to be able to live through that one. Shutdown goes on to the Morgana. Fenrir might have bitten off more than he can chew as well. As Waifu Lord is going to be able to pick up the Wolf.
Yeah, once again, Jhin picking up that shutdown, picking a lot of gold from there, and that IE now completed, being able to pump out that extra damage.
Yeah, good on the side of
Nat
Sector
20
7 to hold there.
Nat 20 just had an uncharacteristically disorganized game, right? And
Listen, I wasn't going to say it.
I call it how I see it. What I'm saying in that moment is just that, that's an example of a moment where Jhin gets the chance to fight back into it, and we can see really like how much damage Jhin really does, right? Like, he's an absolute threat, and so is Vex. It's just that, they're not finding a way to utilize it.
Interesting.
And
Trundle
Nat
sold
20 is...
recurve bow for QSS.
Well, he's probably looking to avoid the CC that everybody's pointing at him. Pretty significantly. Can you QSS the Tom Kench eat?
I don't know. Someone in chat, can you QSS Tom Kench ult?
It's a suppress, so I would say yes. because that's also what Malzahar is.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like a few people in the chat are pointing out that the pacing of the game, the tempo is a little slow, and I definitely agree. I think that, with the kind of lead that we're seeing here, you need to play faster, right? Because if you don't, then you open yourself up to opportunities like what just happened bot lane. That can turn the tide of the game, right? There is definitely something to be said that if S7 is allowed to catch up to them,
S7 are opting for a 4v5 here, leaving Waifu Lord top lane. Is going to be able to get the objective down to 300 extra gold for the team, but it might not matter. He is now teleporting. Okay. Ooh, good hook onto Leviathan. Not going to be the engage just yet. So they're going to get that teleport and probably continue the siege.
This is what we need out of Nat 20, right? Like, there should never be an idle moment. If they're not getting a neutral objective, they need to be pressuring a tower or setting up some other kind of engage or fight that they can be using. But simply allowing S7 to farm their way back into the game is not doing them any favors.
Hang on, here goes good Vex Sphere and good 3-man Diana ultimate. A lot of damage going down, but it might not matter. Ooh, Yorgamon going very low, though. That's going to be 2 picked up for the side of Nat7, and they might be in trouble. Hang on, Squeeby, though, finding the damage on the other side. Leviathan gets hooked up, and they are going to go incredibly low as well. Might have egg passive, might not. Oh, Trundle gets deleted by the Jhin. And now Timotry has his time to shine. With Baron spawning in 14, this could be the tide turning.
So here's an example of Vex utilizing that.
Oh, Vex ult goes in. She is going to find 1. Can she find 2? Stun goes down, and Egg is a bait. So they are going to pick up the Vex in trade for the Caitlyn.
Yeah. That was ambitious, I would say. So there's just an example, though. Vex, utilizes her fear correctly. It peels. The Jhin is able to fight his way in. The one thing that I would say that I would like to see out of Jhin in these fights is maybe a little bit quicker on the ult and try and get in there and get some more autos down and really lay down the damage that he has, right? I noticed that in the past couple team fights, he's in the back, immediately pops ult when the team engages, which is fine. But he just kind of waits and tries to pick off kills with the ult, but as a primary damage dealer for his team, he really needs to get in there and just start popping kids,
Yeah, absolutely, and as you pointed out earlier, it is maybe a bit harder for him because the Caitlyn and the Morgana do want to stay farther away. Warwick is only his real diving buddy, as I like to call them. Ooh.
Sure, but he has Flash and he also has his Gale Force, right? And he can use these defensively to try and avoid being around people. But, when you have the ability to maybe 2 or 3 shot several times...
Oh, hang on. Bagoop might be in trouble here. Leviathan does land the stun. They are going to be found. Fenrir flashes forward for the fear and is going to go unstoppable. That is going to be a pickup onto the jungler ahead of the Baron and Elder spawn.
Yep.
Good vision game, a little bit aggressive.
Positioning on blue team looks like they're really just looking to try and get this dragon. They're going to trade the Baron.
I don't think they have time. I think there's enough time for Nat 20 to run down to the Dragon Pit here. Yeah, they might not be there on spawn, but it is a 4v5. Bagoot is not back up for another good amount of time. And this...
Well, I think that's just what their idea was, right?
It's going to be a rumble in the jungle. Here comes the Vex Sphere. It is going to land onto 4 people, and instantly Leviathan is taken very low. Waifu Lord goes in for a knockup, but the Warwick is so massive. Here comes damage on the Squeeby, but now Vex has found the back line. There goes the Caitlyn. Yorgamon going to be the next to fall. Pickle Hater and Fenrir looking to help do the damage onto the Vex, and they are going to find it. Timotry now gets rooted by the Caitlyn trap. That's exactly what they needed. Fenrir and Pickle Hater now looking to pick up the Thresh, which they're going to do, and they can probably end the game.
So check this out. That fight, Jhin throws 2 shots of his ult, 2 auto attacks the entire fight. Now I know that it's definitely scary to get close to the Trundle and the Warwick, right? But doing nothing for the entire game is not an option, right? Like, you have to take the risk and step forward and try and get some of that damage down because you're the only one that can do that. Right?
Yeah.
And if you're playing too timidly back, then you've already
lost. They are choosing not to go forward. 10 seconds left on Tom Kench. I guess there's maybe saying we can confirm Elder here, and then they want to get that buff. I'm not quite sure.
The absolute choice right now.
It looks like he's choosing red. Now Elder. Okay.
Well, it's all part of the process, right?
Okay, he hasn't started it yet. Guys, Okay, now they've started it. I think this is a little late. Bagoot's going to be able to spot them out. Throws the Q. Perhaps a little bit early. Caitlyn ult used for poke. As, there goes Bagoot. A little bit too aggressive. Jungler is now dead. Again, will they be able to find it? Curtain Call does a lot of damage, but they are going to body block. Red team gets the dragon. Tom Kench goes in. It is going to be tragic. Oh, massive damage from Jhin. Curtain Call. It is going to pick up Jorgemund, but that's probably not enough. Pickle Hater doesn't have mana, so you're probably safe. But, okay, maybe not. Maybe I lied.
Good fear.
Yeah. Good job, Vex, keeping him alive for now. But 9k up, Nat 20 are going to try and claim the Nexus. Good hook. Not going to do anything. Stun lands. Oh, big auto from the Caitlyn there. Yeah, see, so this is something I wanted to point out earlier. While I think playing slow is a bit frustrating from a viewership perspective, I actually think with the Anivia and the Caitlyn on your team, it's a pretty fine bet, because Sweewie is doing more and more damage as these fights go on. Even though Sona can find them in the back end, if they get one headshot off per fight, it is still like 60% of someone's health bar.
Well, I think the thing that the commenters are referencing, and one thing that I see here too is, I don't remember who said it, but somebody said, I think it's Jessis9 says, the fact that tier 2 is still up bot is sus. And that's just a reference to the fact that Anivia has teleport and immense wave clear. It costs Anivia nothing to be on the bot side of the map and pushing these towers down when they have an instant back into the fight with any kind of teleport. And so that's the real difference maker between N20 and S7 here. If N20 took every opportunity that they had to maintain pressure and maintain tempo in this game, then it wouldn't even be close. It's not close, but it would be even less close, right?
I think they could have ended the game right there, to your point. You had Elder, well, you still have it, but, you know, you were at the Nexus. You shouldn't be afraid of a little bit of turret diving at this point in the game. Just go ahead and waltz up on in there. As Waifu Lord might be in a bit of trouble here. He is going to be seen on that pink ward that he is taking. Trundle going forward. Yeah. Jhin doing a lot of damage, though. Trundle going to have to respect it.
Yeah. And just letting your opponents farm back into the game, you know, like they're trying to, you know, take advantage of every opportunity that they get.
Yep. Oh, Bagoot might be in trouble here, though. A little bit aggressive going for the chickens. Is going to have to flash out. That's another tool they are not going to have for this next fight.
360 CS on that Jhin as well. Full build already. Reached full build before his 8-3 Caitlyn counterpart.
Yep. Absolutely. And
that's just not an opportunity that N20 had to give to the Jhin. Like, look at that. It's Vex. Like, you know, N20 is really in a situation right now where if they have one or two bad fights, they don't win this game anymore, right?
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, it's just a really precarious situation to be in. It's not the situation they were in 10 minutes ago.
Yeah, it's a bit interesting. Oh, a good pillar, though, and that is going to be two members stunned from the Anivia. A good wall, and they're using it. Vex ult is going to find the Trundle, but that was wild! Morgana flashes into the hook, and really good job from Pickle Hater there to knowing that he had the Vex on him, the Vex ult on him, kite up and away from his team to prevent the Vex Sphere or Vex damage from going on to the rest of his team.
But look at it from the other side. Very great on Vex for taking the 14-2 Trundle out of the fight by threatening that, right?
Yeah, absolutely. This inhibitor should fall.
They can't because the damage on the side of S7 is so severe at this point because they've been allowed to farm back into the game that it's actually risky where it shouldn't be.
Yeah, Morgana pinging. Baron is back up in 17 seconds. There have been a lot of worms taken this game. And Trundle gets hooked, rooted up, but that inhibitor will fall. It is going to be challenging for Sector 7 to wave clear into this Baron. Because the inhibitors are getting taken. They don't stand much of a chance. Hang on, Pickle Hater might be in trouble. Fenrir going forward. Pickle Hater still here, deciding whether or not to go in. They are going to back it up. Oh, there he uses Subjugate, so he's deciding to go back in. Bagoot goes in, finds some damage. Here comes the Vex ult, though. It is going to find a massive fear onto the back line. Caitlyn is immediately shut down. Pickle Hater has to use the Silvermere Dawn to get out. Egg pops, but that is not going to save you. And and this will be Baron for Sector 7. We'll have to see what they can get done. There are still at least 3 towers standing between them and the end of the game, though.
But I mean, this is exactly what I'm talking about. If they had just pushed their advantages 10 minutes ago, none of this would have been happening.
Yeah, but I also at the same time, I don't think it's, useful to them right now to beat a dead horse. You got to look, okay, what can we do to close out this game? We have the soul, they're going to have Baron, maybe we can get Elder. How do they need to play these fights?
Well, it looks like to me what's happening right now is that the side of S7 is able to kind of get some pokes off and sort of stay aloof until there's a really prime opportunity to get the fight in. So what Nat 20 needs to do is they need to either create pressure on multiple points of the map with a 3-1 split push, 1-3-1 or 4-1, which they can do with their Anivia having teleport, or they need to find a way to decisively engage a fight that's going to be in their favor to ace the opponent. If they can't do one of those two things, I don't know if they're really going to be able to take control of this game again.
Yep, Pickle Hater and Jormungand gonna find their way out of there on the blast cone. Yeah, here we have it. The next Elder fight.
Positioning here.
Anivia is not here yet. She's behind this rotation.
She has teleport. It's fine.
There's still a lot can happen. She's here now. It doesn't matter anymore.
Yeah.
NS
So at
Toto.
this point right here, I think Nat 20 needs to get the decisive engage, right? Like if they allow S7 to wait for their better opportunity for the engage, I think the disadvantage is going to be enough to turn the fight.
Unless Sector 7 take a bad engage. Shepard getting caught out there. A beautiful Nivea wall. Bagut finding 3 on the back end is going to use this Zanyas to go golden. But suppression comes down and killing spree for Nets. Yep. Sector 7 Soda, on the back end there. As Fenrir is going to follow as well. Pickle Hater not big enough to do this. And that is going to be a full wipe. 60 seconds. 70 seconds on a lot of people. Their base is falling to minions. But they have a lot of time to push down these structures.
But I think that's going to be the rule of thumb moving forward. Whatever team engages the fight is going to be the team. And then, especially with the Vex, like the Vex in the situation where if she has access to that front line and you don't have the ability to peel it because you're too busy getting ulted by Diana, you're not going to win either. So
yeah,
these are things that the side of N20 they really have to be aware of, and you have to know where that Diana is or where the Vex is, because the risk of the flank at this point in the game is the difference between winning and losing the fight.
100%. And credit to Bagut. They have had many beautiful multi-person ults this game.
Fantastic. Yeah. At this point, he realizes, 3-9, they're not really going to be a damage contributor, so what can they contribute? And that's that, right? Big ults that synergizes well with the Jhin ult. If they get the front line occupied, that allows the Vex to find their angle.
Jormungand playing with fire here as they take a lot of poke. Timotry looking for the damage is going to be able to find that 4th shot. That is a deleted support. The Elder is so large right now. It lasts for so long because this is, what, the 2nd or the 3rd one?
2nd one.
Yeah.
We're going to see now if S7 makes the same mistake that N20 did.
What N20 need to do is let Leviathan wave clear.
Right.
And Leviathan needs to not die, but they've chosen to take a fight, and I don't think that's what you want. Your wave clear has gotten deleted, and now Trundle is going to be in trouble. Uses the Silvermere Dawn to get out of the ultimate, but you are going to have a hard time clearing this wave from range without your Anivia. Objective bounty after objective bounty is falling. Warwick goes in, they recognize they have to fight now, but the Elder buff is just too strong. Pickle Hater is going to die, so is Fenrir, and that is going to be a comeback for Sector 7.
Fantastic work on Sector 7's fight. They knew exactly what they needed to do in these fights. They positioned the way that they needed to, waited for the right moments. They had superior CSing across the board, which kept them, really competitive in damage output, even though they were losing so many of those fights in the mid game. And then being able to recognize when they had that win pressure at the end is the difference between S7 and N20 in that game. N20 had a few opportunities, I think, to end that. They were a little bit nervous or timid about it. Didn't take that opportunity, and then they ran out of tries, I guess.
Yeah, and I mean, if we look at the damage charts, Vex and Jhin absolutely pumping. I mean, Diana was on the level of Trundle as well, but this mid and bot, they came to play.
Absolutely. And I mean, they had superior poke, control over their lanes. There's a really high level of individual skill on that side of the Rift in that game, and it was just really interesting to see how they were able to, pull themselves back into it and get that win. What I'm really interested to see is how Nat 20 adapts their draft, knowing what the strengths are of S7 from game 1. I think the game 2 is definitely going to be really spicy.
We are going to see, as we do have a pro draft link here. Looks like we are getting raring and ready to go.
I mean, I don't know the current stats. That was a 53-minute game. What is the longest LVLCS game?
I don't know, but
documented?
That one's probably up there. It probably is somewhere, but if you haven't heard, Riot are a small indie company, and so they've changed their API, so we can't actually get statistics data from customs anymore. So
yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Anyhow, the teams say they need a minute, so I'm going to go get some water. If you two want to vamp.
Vamp, okay. Well, I'm definitely interested in seeing more significant attention paid in draft 2 on the side of N20 this time. I want to see them try and find the picks that are going to allow them to minimize those lane differentials, right? Because if they can keep the side of S7 from gaining these huge CS leads throughout the laning phase, then that also makes their job in the mid and late game a lot easier.
Yeah, because I mean, as we saw, like the Jhin, the Vex, they just kept farming, and then their damage output was getting to the point where they were stopping fights before it was even started, really. And like, even if they weren't in the same situation where they weren't able to get in earlier into the game, where the peel was too strong and they were able to spit out their damage, they just hit a point where they couldn't combat it.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely agree. I think that on the red side, they had multiple opportunities there to really press their advantage and push to end. And I understand that like it can be intimidating, when you're in a game and you just want to make sure that you're not making a mistake. But sometimes that inaction and that hesitation, that is a mistake in and of itself. And Sector 7 really proved that in Game 1.
Yeah, I saw multiple times where, I mean, I feel like the Anivia, that the TP on her just wasn't used to its fullest potential. I mean, it was up for what I feel like a significant part of the game towards the end, where, I mean, even just getting a tower or even some damage on it, then TPing towards the fight instead of just kind of staying clumped, especially if you try to get some good vision down and make sure that you are safe for it. That Anivia is going to be able to clear waves and deal damage to those towers that may have impacted the game, but instead the TP was kind of left to the wayside as just not being used.
Sure, and I mean, some of the arguments you can make as well is that, if one of the members on the side of Sector 7 is busy dealing with some kind of split push wave, then they can't fight full force, right? So there's numerous advantages that can be gained from playing that way. And I definitely think that Nat 20 definitely has the skill to come back and win the game too. It's all going to be in the draft, and it's all going to be in having confidence and just pressing that tempo for sure.
Yeah, and maybe they'll see the mistakes that they made from last game. Maybe we'll see that towards draft, or maybe it's going to be a thing where we see this comp come out and it just may not really complement what they were going for.
Well, I mean, another thing to consider as well is that you have champions like Diana and TK, where they didn't have a lot of gold going for them, but they were still able to find ways to be useful within the comp. And that's a huge, huge bonus for Sector 7. And if they can continue to draft in a way that allows them to have utility even from behind, then that's just going to be a huge headache on the side of Nat 20 in the next game as well.
I mean, yeah, just champions that are innate, like, just have something innately be able to be good with them. You don't need the gold to run. Like, Diana will just be able to clump them together, even if the damage isn't going to be able to come off. Like, it really does just pressure anyone that gets caught by that you are in immediate trouble, especially seeing the Jin damage and Vex damage late game, that if they can pull something like that again, then they're definitely going to have to end up worrying about it.
Sure. Yeah, I definitely agree with you. Pretty interesting outcome to that game. I definitely saw in the beginning that the Sector 7 side was showing an immense amount of control over laning phase, but the game really just got away from them once that ended.
Yeah, slow leads just from crashing a couple waves, picking up from bot lane, top lane, side, anything farm. From anywhere, it can really build up to the point where it can turn a game, even if you are still behind in gold. Just being able to catch up, even just with XP, is a lot.
One thing that I did think was very interesting, though, is that even though Sector 7 was able to build these large CS leads, there wasn't like a really significant level difference. I think at one point Jin did have like one level up on Caitlyn, and maybe a matched Vex's level throughout the entire game. Which is not easy to do in a situation where you're not really super in control of the lane and super in control of CSing. And so it just seems to me like what we're really looking at here is a bit of an issue with accuracy and picking up the CS, but keeping that level the same is very impressive, and it definitely makes Sector 7's job a lot harder, because a gold difference is never going to be as powerful as a level difference. The level difference is by far going to be the more powerful or the preferred kind of option that you can get. I'm not sure whether or not one side could have done more for wave management in that sense, but we'll have to see next game.
And next game is starting now, as we have gotten into draft. Gonna go ahead and reset that. Start the screen. There we go. There are the bands coming through. So Xin Zhao, Annie, and Set are the bands.
The quick Lux pick on the side of N20 Vikings, and Sector 7 picking up the Vex once again.
Okay. I mean, Vex went super well for them last time. You have to wonder, probably Lux support, but is there a possibility they send it mid?
I mean, it's a flex pick. It's first pick. It's something that is able to be flexed, moved around. Just something that they could feel safe with.
Procomps.gg, the sponsor of Little Budget LCS, is telling us that Lux counters Vex. So, there you have it.
The Vex Jin, both of them coming back out. These people that were able to deal damage once they were able to actually get in, not be able to. I mean, yeah.
Where you're coming from, but here's the deal. Nat 20 went down in lane against Vex and Jin last game, and then still could have won that. Had multiple opportunities to win.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not worried about it. Even if the Jin comes out, even if the Jin's looking at a 40 CS lead, where I would normally be concerned about it, Nat 20 has shown me that shit just doesn't matter, right? So what they need to focus on now is replicating that experience that they had in the mid game and maximizing the tempo this time around. When they have these opportunities to push and end, they need to take them, and if they do that, I don't see Sector 7 winning. Because the deal is last game, Sector 7 had a gold advantage in both of those lanes for the entire game, and weren't able to do anything with it until after 45 minutes.
When they had Baron and Elder.
Exactly. All Nat 20 needs to do is not get to 45 minutes this time, and they should be able to wrap it up.
Yeah, Kane being banned. Sorry, Dying Duck. Cho'Gath being banned. It'll be interesting to see if they leave open the Trundle again. I think Sivir and Warwick, obviously, I think Sivir would synergize better with the Trundle this time. Gangplank is the ban, and Viego on the other side. So
I love the Leona pick on Sector 7. Provides just an immense amount of pressure in the team fight, locking people down.
in principle,
Malphite's pretty interesting.
I agree. I don't like you picking up Leona Malphite when you know they play Trundle.
And it's not being respect banned.
Yep.
Well, I think...
and there it is.
But the difference that you have to consider here is whether or not they're going to allow Trundle to get fed again, right?
True. But I don't think
Kindred.
it matters a ton, because this time I don't think you necessarily need to play through Trundle. Kindred, feast or famine, that champ, let me tell you.
Sure.
Both comps are being called pick. We got some insights here, fairly balanced across the board, but what I really want to talk about is, so the Trundle, I don't think has to be super fed to be a huge pain for Leona or Malphite. If Leona W's and then Trundle R's, it is really, really tough.
Go back to that, so you see that little scaling thing, though, that shows that Sector 7 starts low but peaks in the mid-game?
Barely, yes, but I do see it.
So that was the opposite that we saw last game for them. And it's going to be really interesting to see them in a situation where, if they continue to perform as well as they did in lane last game, and mid-game is in their favor, what is that? That poses a really interesting challenge for Nat 20 at that point. Because mid-game was where they were able to spike on all of their lanes and start winning fights, and that's when they really took control of the game. So if they're not able to do that this time around, we might see a different outcome between the two teams in the mid-game, and that could severely impact Nat 20's ability to win.
Yeah, and the gambling pools have been opened for you dirty degenerates, so go ahead and throw your schmeckles around. As I'm going to have some tea and biscuits.
Pretty British. Let's see here. It says Kindred counters Trundle. But I'm assuming that means that Trundle isn't jungle.
Yes, it would be assuming Trundle jungle. Kindred is quite good if she can effectively kite these big beefy boys in the Trundle, in the Warwick. It'll be interesting to see what happens and how they play around the Kindred, because obviously Kindred wants to get those invades, wants to get those marks off so that she can scale, get that extra attack range, not be in as much danger when she's kiting.
Mm-hmm. Though I must personally say, I feel like Kindred feels a little out of place with that comp, them picking with the Vex and Malphite. If they do hit those points again, I feel like Kindred just kind of gets left behind with having to use her ult to possibly defend herself, because if the Malphite ults in, the Vex follows, Leona possibly going in with the E as well. If they don't properly kite, Kindred and Jhin get left behind, but it may be enough damage to CC to keep them away in the first place.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. I actually think that their previous jungler, Diana, would fit a lot better in this composition.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think it could be a comfort pick, but I did also notice, a lot of situations where champions, like, they were losing team fights, but not by a lot, right? So maybe having the Kindred ult around to kind of offset some of the increased damage that Nat 20 is doing might put them in a position where they might be able to turn some of these fights and get a win. Another thing I would consider here is that Trundle is, on this patch, a very, very strong jungler, and he's kind of a moderately strong top laner, but Malphite is pretty strong as well on the patch.
Yeah, something I want to point out, though, is that ProCompsGG has these teams basically dead even. Early, mid, and late, it says both teams are fairly balanced. Herald priority, Drake priority, balanced. Ganking guideline, balanced. Lane insights, pretty balanced. All it really says is Warwick should be aggressive early and that Morgana counters Leona, but Sivir is weak against Jhin.
And here's the thing, dude, is, last game, this app correctly predicted that the top and mid 2v2 situation was going to be a really, sore weak spot for Sector 7. And that ended up coming true. And it ended up being, one of the main reasons why Sector 7 struggled in that mid game. And so now that we have them more on even footing, can we say that last game was just draft diff, right? And what can we expect out of these teams moving forward into this game with more kind of level playing field or even footing as far as power goes? It's going to be really interesting to see.
That is for sure. Malphite, perhaps a little bit better at escaping the Warwick Trundle, has that Q that does the annoying thing where it both slows you and
steals
speeds him
move
up.
speed.
Very annoying when you're a jungler. But Warwick is a very fast boy and does have CC. So I think if the CC lands first, Malphite might not have such a good time, because when you're into a Trundle, your armor isn't always there.
Well, I mean, another thing to consider here is that the top laner on Sector 7 wasn't just getting ganked, right? But Warwick was sneaking up in places multiple times. He wasn't placing wards down. And so we're going to have to see if that, informs the differences in vision control or in his positioning that he's going to be making in this game. Because if Fenrir is going to be able to do wraparound ganks, do lane ganks, and if that's going to continue to be successful, then I don't think the power of the champion is going to matter, right? If he's consistently caught off guard, then he's not going to be able to defend himself.
I think that is fair. Again, this is economy. Anything can happen. The one thing that I wish from this game is I want more blood, and I want it faster.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really interested to see, are we going to see the same lane performances? Like, if Jhin and Vex get these big leads, and their team composition spikes in the mid game, like, how is Nat 20 really going to be able to answer that this time? I think that the priorities here across the board for Nat 20 is going to be probably to try and emphasize that top and mid 2v2 and allow Sivir and Morgana to just farm it out bot against the Jhin. I think Sivir probably doesn't want to engage a lot with the Jhin early, because it's just going to put her at a disadvantage. She's definitely more of like a later game, kind of team fighting ADC that can just pump out the damage from a safe distance, and that's where she wants to be. Her spell shield's going to give her really good advantage over the Malphite ultimate, or even the Leona ultimates, which is going to make her difficult to catch, because she's got her spell shield and she's got the Morgana Black Shield. But Lux is going to be, I think, a really interesting catalyst, because she has complete glass cannon characteristics at the moment, is going to be extremely one-shottable by both Vex and Jhin, but will do immense amounts of damage in the team fight. And so if Nat 20 can get Lux fed and keep Lux safe, that's going to be really, really difficult for Sector 7 to deal with.
Yeah, I mean, we saw the burst damage from the Vex last time, but I have seen Luxes do some disgusting things.
No, exactly. If
also,
they can keep Lux out of harm's way, I have no doubt that she's going to wipe everyone.
You have Lux and Morgana. That is 3 chances for a binding to hit you. 2 on the Lux Q, because it does 2 bindings, and 1 on the Morgana Q. If any of those hit you, and I mean any of them, in post 6, you are dead.
Sure, I definitely agree with you. But I think that there's a fair amount of contingency on the side of Sector 7. You've got Kindred Ultimate, which can save somebody from being deleted. The Malphite Ultimate and the Leona have the ability to interrupt engages, but it's difficult, right? Like, that takes quick thinking, quick hands, and we'll just have to see if they can pull it off. I think Jhin and Vex both showed a really great ability to stay safe in the fights last game. Staying on the backside, not being really reachable, but at the same time, I don't think that Nat 20 did a lot to really try and reach them in a lot of the fights. It was mostly just face rolling with Fed Trundle, front to back, all the way through the team fight, and it ended up working a lot of the time.
Yeah, and the spectator bug has been dealt with, so we are, in fact, into the game. Now, it looks like the side of Nat 20 are going for something aggressive here, with which that triple binding I like very much.
Yeah, I definitely see a really great opportunity for a level 1 here. The Trundle Pillar, the Lux Q, the Morgana Q, and even the Sivir Q, I mean, these are going to be devastating if they land on a level 1 champion on the side.
I think, given the composition, you still start Q on Trundle. Oh, Shepard might be in trouble here. Oh, but Jorgemund and Leviathan are not there fast enough. Flash forward, the binding does not hit, a good sidestep, but you are going to take a ton of damage anyway. Flash for flash.
Yeah, I definitely think that could be worth. The thing to consider, though, is that the flash that they did get on the side of Sector 7 is a Hex flash, so... you know, it's not a real one-for-one trade there in that sense. And we're just setting up for a pretty standard leash here on both sides.
Yep, but Nat 20 will have a slight advantage as they do have the information. Something I think you should do when you're playing Warwick, you can start leashless. You have a lot of healing in your kit.
Sure.
You don't need a leash. You can let your laners get that early advantage, get that first wave pushing, pulled, whatever they want to do with it.
Yeah, I definitely think that defaulting to the leash is... it can definitely be helpful, but you know, there are definite strategic advantages to taking champions that don't require it. It's unfortunate that Sivir used the Q on the wave there, wasn't able to get the poke off when Morgana binding did.
Absolutely.
Trundle is starting pretty dominant here. I don't know where all of Malphite's mana is. Sivir is burning through her mana right now, trying to...
Ooh, a great binding.
Great binding, able to capitalize on it this time.
Bad binding.
Leviathan is struggling a little bit there, but hopefully they'll be able to get that sorted out.
I know we were talking about earlier about the Warwick getting the leash there. If I may point out as a counterpoint to it, maybe going for the leash for the possible clear speed may be worth it, especially going against a Kindred. He may not want to possibly give up a Scuttle Crab that could spawn there, especially since he's starting on his red side. It's going to be a little bit slower without that Tiamat.
With how much Scuttle Crabs are nerfed.
I like where your thinking is at, but one thing that I would point out too is, especially in lower elo, a lot of jugglers kind of view the Kindred marks differently than I think they should. So the Kindred mark shows you where the Kindred is most likely to be.
Well, hang on, we've got a gank here. Pickle Hater is in a ton of trouble as NF Bagoot finds their first mark of the game and first blood. That's incredibly good to get on your Kindred.
I agree. So Kindred's going to go to this mark, right? If Warwick knows that this mark is happening...
Here comes Leviathan.
It's in Warwick's best...
Warwick goes forward. Bagoot is forced to flash. But they might stick around to contest now that Sona has walked down. No, they're going to go. Oh. Jungle crashed. Alrighty. We have... Oh. Oh.
And we're back. Okay.
Oh.
That was very rapid. This is a classic... by the way, the game has frozen. Because whenever you pause, the game always freezes afterwards.
So I'll finish my my thought here. I think a really interesting strategy is to, instead of setting up to fight at every Kindred mark, just counter jungle. If you know that the mark is going to be topside, grab bot scuttle and their bot jungle, and then look to make a play on the other side of the map, while the Kindred kind of has their hands tied trying to become relevant as a champion. Because pre-4 marks, I mean, Kindred really struggles a lot, especially in ganking and team fighting, without like a considerable amount of setup. However, if you're in a situation though where you can win the 2v2 and you can win those fights, then absolutely go to them, right? But if it's a struggle or if it's a coin flip, then you don't even need to. Like, you have information given to you about where the enemy jungle is going to be in that moment.
Fair enough. At the same time, I have seen Kindreds absolutely bait teams by going where their mark isn't.
It goes both ways. Yeah, it does. It does.
So it is very much a game. I think that's where vision becomes important. Because I think you can get vision on the marks if you have that. Yep. Actually, if you're really on top of it, and I should be more on top of this as a jungler. But you can actually predict where the marks are going to spawn. Because so first mark you'll notice is always on a Scuttle Crab, right?
Scuttle Crab. Well,
RNG Taco Ball. No, the second one, as you can see right now, is usually on one of these inner camps. So you see Warwick is denying the one on the chickens right there. It's on one of the minor camps. So you can usually predict that and maybe get down vision ahead of time.
Sure. I definitely agree with you on that point. One note that I want to make is I do really like where Nat 20 came with their draft this time around. Picking Sivir as like a better farming option sees Sivir with a 6 CS advantage in lane. Looks like Lux is still struggling here, but we're gonna see how that changes when we can get Warwick involved. But I love to see the ADC change into something that's a little safer and better to farm with.
This time, I will also point out Squeewee ahead of CS. I don't know if you already said that, but
Yeah, I just said.
Yeah,
Because
yeah,
this
I think
Sivir
you
gives
did.
the chance to, yeah.
my brain's a bit
Exactly.
fried after that 55-minute first game.
That is exactly
Yeah,
what I
mine's
said.
still recovering from that. I am.
But Leviathan certainly, as you said, low on the mana here. Maybe they're going to be looking to pick up. Well, Tyr isn't very good on her, is it? Because Tyr's more for like the Cassiopeia sustained damage type mages. So probably
It
just looking for the
definitely
lost
slows-
chapter.
Exactly. It definitely slows the power progression, the power spiking. I would just say to try and hold out, get some passive mana regrowth there, and just hope that Warwick can make an appearance and help you get some pressure back in the lane.
Yeah, so someone pointing out in chat,
Yeah.
aren't there going to be problems with the Malphite later if the Sivir is going lethality? What do you think?
Well, this really depends. I think that if Malphite goes full tank, it certainly can, but Malphite's real utility in that moment is his ultimate, and Nat 20 has a lot of get out of jail free cards for that, right? Sivir has her own spell shield, Morgana has the spell shield as well. I think what Sivir's really looking to do in these fights is sit in the back and just throw Qs in, and as long as they can avoid having like a direct confrontation with the Malphite, I don't think it'll be a problem. But that also definitely really hinges on Lux being able to get built out as well. So it's gonna have to be a joint effort damage-wise.
Lux ulting the wave. Yep, I like it. My main take would be, oh, hang on, we've gotten engaged here. The Morgana has been handing a lot of good bindings, but they are going to get rooted. But
Excellent
Timotry is incredibly low, and they cannot follow up on that.
I don't understand why Squeewee doesn't flash auto, but maybe there's a little worry of some kind of like turn.
Heal. Heal on the side of the gen.
Yeah, that's a good point. I think if you're
they've-
quick enough, you know.
It all depends on how fast Jin's fingers are.
Yeah.
And I think Squeewee is
True.
respecting their opponent. As Pickle Hater has used the subjugate here, is going to look to get the Malphite, but Malphite is just going to say, I have your move speed, and you're taking my wave friend, and now I have
Yep.
ultimate, and you don't.
Yeah. You know, just to be a little glib, I would just say, just have Morgana flash ignite too, you know?
And there goes the ultimate unstoppable force. Is good. Solo Q.
Damn.
Oh, is this a new player? Did they swap out?
This is. I think so.
Oh, wait.
I don't know, actually.
Oh, that was Waifu Lord.
That was Waifu Lord last
Yeah.
time.
Waifu Lord has. Yep.
Okay. Well, Waifu Lord has swapped out here, as Herald is going to go into the pocket of Bagoot here. A good start for Sector 7.
Gas is really great. I mean, they know where they have their priority and their pressure, and they're targeting the neutral objectives in those zones, and that's exactly what you need to do to try and build up to a dominant mid game, right?
They've got a little bit of trouble here. Pickle Hater going aggressive on the solo queue. Flashes all over as they do manage to land the suppression on the solo queue. It might not be enough. Fenrir, though, going forward. Great follow through with Q, and they are going to be able to pick up the Malphite there. Gets a little bit too greedy on the invade.
Yep.
I like this, though. Mid tower, certainly going to be chunked. Lux nowhere in sight. So they're going to be able to get 4 of these tower plates here into the Kindred and Vex's pockets. 2 super critical members for the side of Sector 7. Lux ulting to clear the wave again.
I believe we were talking about this last game about whenever the first tutorial was picked up last game, how where it should be decided. And I think It was talked about how if it's put mid, it could let Vex that has her ult actually be able to roam and maybe to impact some of these side lanes, and we see it be put mid this time. And
Yeah, because the difference is, bot lane is not seeing the same control and success that they had last time. And if Squeezy has to worry about Vex ults, that could help out with the Jin's plight quite a bit here.
Yep, it could indeed. Something interesting. So, I played a bit of the lethality Sipper build. I liked it going on A-Ram.
Yep.
Squeezy does not have a tier yet. That's kind of a crucial component. Miramon and Monomune offer a ton of AD for the build, and they let you throw out Qs without really needing to think about it.
I agree. I think that is honestly a first back kind of buy for lethality Sivers, but
I know that
the thing about it is it's up to Jin to be able to punish that.
Yeah. Yormagun hitting great bindings here, but going a little bit too far forward. Is going to get stunned up by the Leona. Walking forward, perhaps for the ultimate, they're going to decide against that aggressive of a play. As this time, Pickle Hater is on the CS deficit, and the farm plus the kills are creeping ever forward in favor of Sector 7. Looking at individual gold. Ooh, 2,300 in the top lane is the lead for solo queue between the farm and the kills. Well, kill and assist.
And I think this just kind of goes back to, Trundle being really good in the jungle on the composition, but isn't as competitive as a top laner against, a more meta top pick than Tom Kench. It changes drastically what you're able to do. And, I think Pickle might have had a little bit more confidence from game one than he really should have, given the changed variables here. Put himself in a little push position, kind of gave himself a lot of gank risk.
When it becomes really hard on this champion, good pickup for Fenrir, good smite.
Yeah.
Now they're looking for the fight. He binds a great suppression, a great fear. Bagut gonna drop the ult, trying to keep their Vex alive. Fenrir is gonna fall, but Nat 20 Soda soon gonna fall after. Squeezy is doing the damage. Now Shepard is gonna go down as well. Yormagun forced to flash as the Kindred is going forward looking for the damage. But the binding, finding the Jin, and these roots are oppressive. This is exactly what this team was meant to do, and it gets Sivir a triple kill. However, in the top side, Solo Q does manage to find his counterpart.
The level difference between the Trundle and the Malphite makes it unfightable for Trundle. Now that team fight, though, it definitely seemed really unfocused from the S7 side. Nobody was really kind of picking a clear target. There wasn't the coordination there that you would expect, especially against certain, squishier targets such as Lux. I mean, that should be a no-brainer. The fact that Kindred is walking past Lux to try and last hit the Morgana instead of just having the Jin and the Kindred focus the Lux is a little bit confusing, but I think it was a confusing moment for them too. We'll have to see if they can kind of focus down specific targets moving forward and try and get some more kills happening.
Yeah.
It's going to be very moving forward.
Whew. Need another cup of tea, and I'm back at it. All right. They have closed the gold gap. 1.4.
Right
What?
what time is it in the UK right now?
I think in the UK it's got to be like, let's see, I think it's like
3:39.
5 or 6 in the morning. You say 3 in the morning?
Something like that.
I know the difference for Switzerland. I'm just trying to extrapolate based on that.
Is struggling here with avoiding the poke from the Vex, but Jin's struggling to avoid the poke from the Sivir, so...
Yeah, and Sivir now has the whole Duskblade completed, so is going to be able to do quite a bit of damage with these Qs.
There's still no tier pickup over there after the Lucidity boots. May be seen that the Qs get thrown out too often because the Lucidity boots and the tier's not there to really back it up.
Do you think that Squeezy is making an intentional choice and saying, I'm not building tier this game. I think there are higher value lethality items. Hangons, here comes the Unstoppable Force, NS Bagoot, looking for the damage on a Pickle Hater. He's going to find it. A good Subjugate late saves him from time onto Solo Q. Solo Q going to be taken very low, but is able to flash out of the last tower shot. The bot tower, however, Squeezy and Yormagund are putting on an absolute clinic for themselves in the bot lane, picking up that turret before the top falls.
I mean, the thing is you know, Squeezy has a certain number of Qs that they can throw with that mana, and if they all hit, then not buying a tier is not an error, right?
Mm-hmm.
You don't need mana you're not going to use.
True.
And they're all hitting right now, so I mean, I can't really criticize the build if it's getting them to be 3-0.
I mean, if it works, it works.
Exactly.
Lux ulting the wave again for an instant push. Now, I don't hate that in principle. I just think it's being used. Oh, Fenrir might be in trouble here. Massive damage coming out from Bagoot, but a massive amount of healing out from Fenrir as well. The ult is forced to be dropped, and now Pickle Hater, it might be able to find under the back line. They are not quite going to be taken over. Get the Kindred! Get the Kindred! He's helping peel Fenrir, but Bagoot is just 2 HP on the backside. Finally picked up by Leviathan. Now Solo Q is going to be hit by the bindings. Fenrir coming back in, uses the damage reduction, gets the fear off, picks up that kill for themselves.
There. Would have liked to see a little layering, but I like the teamwork on the side of Nat 20 again. I mean, they definitely sound like they are a little bit more communicative and they rotate more consistently, and that works a lot in their favor. You know, Lux is struggling in lane with the CS, but has 2 kills and no deaths, and that's another thing where it's like, you know, the kills, they're going to add up, and it's going to turn Lux into a very formidable enemy.
Yeah,
I definitely agree. I really wish that the ult was not being used on
Well,
the wave every
actually,
time.
I think that the last, not this ult, but the last ult before that was a really good example of how it should be used. Because she used the ult to clear the wave and then roamed with Morgana, right? So the power of using that ult to clear the wave means you can roam, and I think she is actually doing it again to get priority over this dragon. But they gave it up.
That could be the case, yeah. I guess it just looks
Ooh,
like
Dark Binding does not land. Jormungand's gonna have to be perhaps in trouble. Curtain Call is going to route the side of N20. Dragon not started up just yet, though, so they might be able to get back into this corridor.
I think that's a pretty critical error on the side of Nat 20, not starting the Dragon. There is another Luxel on the wave.
Yep, Fenrir going aggressive. Sona might be in trouble. Shepard extremely low. Fear goes down. They are ticking, but they are not gone yet. Fenrir using the spell shield, but the Gale Force is going to pick that one up.
Love to see that.
Meanwhile, though, Trundle is taking Herald.
Massive Vex damage on the Morgana.
Yep. Sivir Q, steal it.
It looks like Malphite is going to pick up tier 2 turret in the meantime. The 6th or 7th consecutive Luxel on the
Well, what is Lux ult cooldown? 34 seconds.
34 okay.
seconds.
I mean, if you can afford it, you can afford it.
If it works, it works. I can't criticize it. I just think that going for a full combo with the ult might work out better. I don't know. I've never seen a Lux play this way, so I don't know how to feel about it.
I think there have been... Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say, I do want to point something out from that last fight. We did see the Jim with the Gale Force forward. It could have just been, he sees a very easy kill from it. But also, last game, a big thing was that he was kind of scared to walk up for that damage. I mean, he was in the face of that Trundle and face of the Warwick, but wasn't able to pump out that really big damage that he was going to be able to do. So maybe that's something we see a little bit more of this game. He's able to walk up, but that also could be his demise. Aggression
coming out here from both sides as they fight over the blue buff. Everyone's looking to pick a fight, but the Goot is going to just be able to pick that one up with assistance from their team. Solo Q, massive amount of pressure on this Malphite right now. Doubling almost the CS of his counterpart in Nat 20 Pickle Hater, who had a fantastic game last game.
Yeah, definitely a little bit of a struggle going on up there. But last game we saw the Tom Kench go down in a similar fashion, and he still found the utility.
Jormungand might be in trouble here. Not quite going to have enough burst damage on the Vex. 0-1 and 2, not quite the scoreline you need to one-shot just yet.
Sure. So we'll need to see whether or not Pickle Hater is going to be able to find the utility in the late game, right? Mm-hmm. One interesting thing here is that where the side of Sector 7 wasn't able to build experience leads very effectively last game, we do see a 2-level gap topside in their favor this time, and that's probably going to have significant implications for later fights.
Now, on the counterpoint, maybe not quite as impactful, but Jormungand is 2 levels up on Shepherd, or Shapered.
Sure, I think that is very impactful because what we're looking at there is 2 additional skill points, which means lower cooldowns and much more damage output from the Morgana. Because the Morgana is, a double threat in that it's not just CC you're worried about. Like, she can pump out a significant amount of damage in these team fights as well. But not if she's dead.
Jormungand skillfully dodges. A little bit fancy with the feet there. Solar Flare going wide. Jin W not going to hit. Solo Q looking for perhaps a little bit themselves, but is going to just get dark.
Absolutely surrounded by members of S7 right now. And just walking out. Not bad. Great job, Jormungand.
Now, I do think it's interesting that it looks like Squeezy is going for Collector second as the option. Jormungand now going to be in trouble, is going to be able to immune the root there. Solo Q going forward, not going to quite find the knockout, but is going to do damage. Pickle Hater looking for it on the backside, canceling the curtain call, but is going to trade their life for it. Luxalt gets the wave and a little bit of damage onto the enemy team, but 2 are going to be able to pick up for Sector 7.
Yeah, I think Squeezy failed the spell shield there. I think Squeezy did get knocked. Not that it had any really serious implications, but yeah, I mean, you definitely got to be aware of when you need to pop that E on Sivir. It's basically, I would say 50% of why Sivir is a really great pick for these kinds of things is that you basically have an on-demand 0 mana get out of jail.
Yeah, and the side of Nat 20 are looking perhaps a bit defeated as they're ceding Dragon Pressure here. 5,000 gold deficit, 4,000 and some change.
I think Jormund's trying to not give up hope yet. Uh-oh.
Yeah, Jormund has been playing these vision lines very aggressively. Leviathan now perhaps has an in of their own. Binding is not going to hit on the Jhin. If you could one-shot the Jhin here, you are in absolute business. As Fenrir might be in trouble. They're going to get rooted up by the Jhin, and the Bagoot damage is looking spicy.
Yep. Lux wasn't in position to really be able to throw skills out, but it looks like, with the Verdant Barrier and everything, picking a more defensive route to go. It doesn't even have penetration boots here. I don't think Lux is one-shotting anyone anytime soon with that build.
Yeah, I don't think so either. I think perhaps there's a little bit of losing to Shopkeeper going on. I don't like the Trundle Chem Tank either. I think you need to commit further towards tank killing. I think you need the Sunderer into the Malphite. Right. I don't think going tank is, given your gold deficit, going to significantly help you survive in these fights. Maybe it helps you put out a little bit of utility, but I think you are still far stronger of a champion when you have the Sunderer.
I agree, and I mean, if you look at the side of S7, all of those builds are by-the-book standard builds. They're guaranteed to give you good results.
We might have a contest with the Baron here. Nat 20 Fender is going to spot this out. Teleport coming out from Pickle Hater towards the top side. They are going to Lux Ult a little bit early, but it is going to find some damage onto Timotry. Warwick going in instantly. The Kindred Ult is popped, keeping their team alive for now, but Pickle Hater is going to be here. NS Bagoot going to get out. Shepard and Sona both very low. Bagoot now also taken low. Does manage to find the damage. Jhin falls in the pit. It is only a matter of time before Solo Q does as well. And that is going to be a great Baron stop in favor of Nat 20.
That was fantastic team fighting on their side. Definitely. Sivir is staying on the outside, being able to pump those Qs in and get the damage down. Absolutely perfect. Jhin getting kind of trapped in. Yep. Leaving them no option to get out. I like that Trundle was able to kind of take the fight that he knew he had, get back there, have that 1v1 with Jin, get his gold, and get out of there, and not have to worry about Malphite or anybody else bullying him a little too much.
Yep, and yeah, Trundle has decided to sell Sheen and pick up a Tiamat.
All right.
That's a choice.
Maybe go for another Titanic?
Probably another Titanic. Pretty good for the wave clear if you are sending him to match those Malphite side lanes, since he does have the teleport as opposed to the Ghost this game.
Sure.
But, yeah.
Again, we see S7 forgoing the grievous wounds on everybody other than Malphite. Which is not, I think, as detrimental of a decision this time around. I think last time it was a little more worrisome, but...
it's still a bit rough, and the thing about healing reduction being on a tank is that until it's a fully upgraded Thornmail, you have to hit him.
Yep.
And I don't know how much the Warwick, the Trundle, are really going to be hitting him until he's the last one left standing.
Yeah, they don't want to be hitting him, so yeah, I definitely see where you're coming from there.
Alrighty, well, we've got 2 minutes till the next Drake. Nat 20, probably going to try and stall this out, help Sivir get farmed. Now, I thought what was going to happen, I was very wrong. Jormungand, oh, they are caught out on the side solo queue with a great ult on Fenrir, a good solar flare, and that is just going to be 2 instantly picked up for Bagoo.
Great positioning there, great flanks. You know, and with Morgana not being able to utilize the Black Shield there effectively, I mean, it just means that it's pretty free.
Yeah. That should be Baron. What I was going to say before that happened was I was expecting perhaps the Sivir was going to transition into some kind of crit build, because Collector is sort of that hybrid. It gives you crit and it gives you lethality, so it you know, it sort of lends itself to, okay, well, I was going Duskblade, but now I have a Malphite to deal with, so, you know, I'm going to pick up Collector, and then I'm going to get Phantom Dancer or something like that. But has another sword in Dirk, so committing hard onto this lethality build still, I think, is pretty good. I'm not... What item do you think that Dirk is going to? Do you think it's like a Yomu's?
Really good question. I think the question...
I could see it possibly be an Edge of Night.
Edge of Night?
I think Edge of Night is going to be a significant...
Leviathan gets caught by Vex, a massive amount of damage as the Ignite goes down as well. A good binding from Leviathan, but they have to run away. Lux ult is going to find some damage. Suppression going back, but a good Malphite ult keeps Shepard alive and ticking. Pickle Hater forced to flash away. Squeewee is not able to layer the Qs over this fight, and it is tragedy after tragedy for Nat 20 Vikings here.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I don't think the Yumas really offers the utility that Sivir's going to need. I definitely think that the Edge of Night is going to be a little bit of a better pick contextually. Now, the thing is, though, is with the Vex and with the Malphite being able to get these huge engages, it looks like Kindred is the one that's sliding in and getting these kills. And that's going to be just a really, really... difficult champion to deal with moving forward. The amount of utility and damage coming out of her is going to be, or I guess coming out of them, is going to be basically steadily increasing as the game goes.
Yeah, absolutely. Siege, very effective with this Vex, with the good wave clear onto the turret. Lux is going to have ult back up in a couple of seconds here after ulting for the chickens. Fenrir looking for a flank is going to be warded out here. Uses the W, though. They're making the call. They see the Malphite top lane. Here he comes. He's activated it. He gets a fear onto the Vex. There they go in onto the Sona. There falls the support for the Wolf. But now the teleport is coming in from Malphite. They have to be careful. Unstoppable Force is available. It hits 2. And the curtain call is going down on top. 2 are going to fall. Both of the binders have fallen. NS Sona, going in. Triple kill for solo queue, and wearing purple, this could be dangerous for Nat 20.
Yeah, I mean, you know, the answer to Malphite is the spell shields or to dodge it, and we're just not seeing that right? And it just makes Malphite a really effective engager here.
This could be game 2.
Decisive engages.
They are making the decisive choices that Nat 20 could not last game. They are saying, we're wearing purple. We still have 14 seconds till everyone's up. We're going to try and get the Nexus. They use the Kindred ult to keep themselves alive and auto the Nexus down. 2-0 is the series for Sector 7.
Creative. Man, that was a really great game. Definitely a great game.
I think a lot of the things that we saw that we had commented on that really, I mean, kind of ended up having them to be pushed up to that 55-minute mark were kind of shown to be a little bit solved during this game. Only taking 30 minutes compared to the 55 from last game.
Yep. I agree. I think that, we're looking at situations here where, Lux's build is just not going to lend itself to being able to carry, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Sivir's build is fine if your team can control the fight and you can stay on the outside and be throwing those Qs in. That wasn't the case, right? And so it really limits their ability to contribute meaningfully to these fights. And S7 was just able to take over. Interestingly, Vex didn't even get a kill, but was pumping out really huge amounts of damage. The threat from the ult and the flank engages that were going on was just super critical, and the Nat 20 wasn't able to hold up to the pressure on that one, unfortunately.
Yeah, I am going to say real quickly, if anyone is watching from Sector 7 and you would like to be interviewed, we can do some brief interviews if you want to go ahead and hop on down into that community tab. We would love to have you. Just going to say that real quick.
Got some questions, definitely.
I'm going to look at the damage charts there real quick and see. Malphite topping the damage charts above Vex, above Kindred, and well above Jhin at 19,000 damage.
Tanks in Season 12!
Well, he just became a brick wall at a certain point. The thing that really... that I want to harken back to as well is just letting letting your opponents get these huge experience leads, like 3-4 levels above you, means that they're going to decimate you in damage, right? It's worth more than any items you can buy. And that's the thing that you really have to keep under control when you're behind.
Yeah, absolutely.
Bagoot.
NS Bagoot, welcome to the stream. Congratulations on your series. Tell us about the jungle pick going into game 2. I think that was something that confused us a little bit on the desk.
So I was an ADC main for 2 years. So when I switched over to jungle in the off season, Kindred was one of the picks that I was just like, okay, well, I have the basis for this. And then after I realized that they threw the first game, I was like, okay, well, now we already have the mental edge. Let me just cement it with ego.
Oh my god, I did see someone say in the chat you were using the power of ego. Very, very fun. Tell us about that absolute slugfest of a game 1. How are you feeling sort of mid-game? They had control. What was your team doing to keep yourselves in it?
We generally have that, don't give up attitude. So even when we're down that far, we're always just talking about ways that we can get back into the game and what we still have options. And we had a fed Jhin, so we just figured we outscaled in general. So the second that he killed that Trundle for the first time, we kind of had that confidence of we can flip this.
Oh, right. Well, Dying Duck, Arrows, do either of you have any questions?
Yeah, so I noticed that in this last game, you're kind of swiping up a lot of these kills. Was that an intentional decision on everybody's... were people intentionally funneling these kills into you to try and get you a power spike? Or, are you trying to kind of spread the wealth more and those were a mistake? What's your thought on that?
It kind of was just something that happened. Generally, I think it worked out because I power spiked really fast.
True.
So But I mean, it wasn't intentional. It was just something that happened as part of the game.
All right.
And
well,
another thing that I noticed was that, you saw the Trundle pushing up early. You've got the Malphite's a little bit more of a competitive pick. Were you prioritizing coming in to gank that lane to try and build the lead, or was that just circumstantial that it worked out that way for you?
It was so going into game 1, I figured that he was running back the Trundle. And so I didn't want to get that allow that to be fed again because that was a huge problem in the first game, but also I felt like between the Kindred E slow and the Malphite Q slow, it was just enough slows that we could run him down early.
all right.
Yeah, I really like that decision. I think that the Nat 20 team definitely brought some interesting changes to the draft, especially on the bot lane with the Sivir being able to pull in more CS. So watching your team adapt and find those other routes to bring leads into the fold was really interesting. And I think that that's a strength that you guys can definitely lean into for the rest of the season. Congrats on that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
May I ask? I see it banned both games. Do you happen to be a Kayn player?
I do happen to have a Kayn. Or I'm working on one. I don't exactly know why they banned Kayn because it's probably my worst pick.
Ooh.
So it was a bit confusing to me.
A little shade there.
If you ever need Kayn tips, I'm here.
All right. Go to Dying Duck for your Kayn needs. That is going to do it for us today. Bagoot, anyone you want to shout out real quick, coach, etc., teammates, anyone who helped you get here?
The coaches, thank you. Y'all are amazing to us. We definitely don't deserve you, but we have you, so yeah.
All righty. Well, thank you very much. And now, without further ado, I'm going to have Flux Arrows take us out with his classic phrase.
Oh, my classic phrase, dude?
Yeah. That thing you always say.
Workers of the world unite. You have nothing to lose but your chain.